Hey fellow babies, welcome back to Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. If you're watching this real time, it's because you're a Patreon patron, and we thank you for your contributions. If you're watching on YouTube as a subscriber, you're also getting it real time. Thank you. If you can remember to do this, follow the instructions in the show description and link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. We get paid a couple bucks a month for that, so please remember to renew that subscription. It costs you nothing. It's one of the perks you get for being an Amazon Prime subscriber. If you aren't contributing to us in any way, you're just a slug, you have no money, and you don't care, at least follow Shane and me on Twitter. I'm at Michael Pachter, and I am at Michael Pachter, and he is at Dinfire, and you can also follow at SIFTD Games. Our question today from YouTube, from Jared Harris. Nintendo just recently announced an expansion pack for Switch Online that is adding N64 and Genesis games. It'll increase the annual price by an unknown amount. What's the appropriate price increase? What does Nintendo need to do to make the service worthwhile? Will it ever be able to compete with Xbox Live and PSN? You know, realistically, I think this is a baby step towards something that I suggested that they do a long time ago, which is to take the entire handheld library, to take the entire GBA and DS and SP, what Game Boy Advance SP, yeah, SP, DS, and I forgot what was it. 3DS. Gosh, it's like I haven't talked about the Nintendo handles. The 3DS. So take all the games from GBA, DS, and 3DS and put them on mobile and charge a monthly subscription. I think they're going to try first to take really old games, so N64 and Genesis. N64 being a 1996 or 97 console, so you know that old. And I don't know how they got the Genesis contract, but good for them. My guess is odds are they'll double the price. It'll probably go from $20 to $40. It's still a bargain. I can't imagine that they would charge, even $2 a month for this, even though I think there are plenty of great games in there. I just don't think they can justify going from 20 to 45. But I do think this is probably part of a permanent price increase. I think they're going to probably try to first get you to opt in, for an expansion pack, and then ultimately say, okay, now the price is $40 going forward, and all this stuff's included. So I think partly they're trying to test the market and see what the appetite from consumers is for this type of an offering. I think if they eventually go to $60 a year, which is kind of the Xbox Live PSN price, then I think you're going to end up getting tons and tons and tons of people paying if they have great games. And Xbox Live and PSN don't really have that many games. It's the games of gold, kind of two games a month type infrequent offerings, as opposed to Game Pass, which is a separate subscription and costs $10 a month more if you have it bundled with Xbox Live and with your purchase of a console. So I think Nintendo is moving in that direction. I think they see Microsoft's success with Game Pass. I think they will probably try to take Switch Online up to $60 a month over time. So 20 becomes 40, opt into the $40 price point, see if they can convert everybody to $40 in a year or two, take everybody to 60 by offering more games, possibly introduce some type of a Game Pass emulation, something similar to Game Pass. I still think the right platform is mobile phones. I don't think that these games, old games, need to be on the Switch. New games for sure do, because obviously new games have much more sophisticated controls and much better graphics. But old Game Boy Advance and Game Boy Color games, Super Mario 3D, which works, I still have this thing here, which works really well on this, and this is not a sophisticated piece of hardware. If you can play it on this, you can absolutely play it on a mobile phone. So I expect that, I said $20 ultimately becoming mandatory instead of optional, and ultimately growing to $60 as they start adding more and more and more games. So good idea. Will they ever compete with Xbox Live and PSN? I think the real trick of Xbox Live is going to end up being that it's not going to require an Xbox to be a member. I think that the kind of Trojan horse that Microsoft's introduced is that Game Pass technically doesn't require an Xbox. Now, they're not promoting that, and they won't say it anywhere in their literature. I just asked the question. They went, well, yeah, we don't promote that fact, but you don't need one. The games will work on any screen. They are absolutely powered by the cloud, and they don't use the client. So when you're playing an Xbox game on your PC as part of Game Pass, it is coming from the cloud. It's streaming. It is not something that you have, on every single screen that they touch. I think that that's a big differentiator. Obviously, it's going to be a problem with multiplayer and it's going to be laggy, but it's not a problem with single player games. And Microsoft seems hell-bent, intent on building out its single player library. So most of its acquisitions have been single player game studios, and I think that they're going to end up offering you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games via Game Pass and get people in the habit of spending, essentially $10 a month. I mean, nominally 15, but if you sign up with all the other bundles for Xbox Live and everything else, it's $10 for that, $5 for Xbox Live. So will Nintendo ever compete with that? Not till they wean themselves from, every Nintendo game must be played on a dedicated Nintendo branded hardware device. As long as they have that, they will never compete with Xbox Live. Xbox is going to always have more subscribers and make more money. Thanks for joining us on Pachter Factor on SIFTD.net. Again, if you are watching this real time, it's because you're a Patreon patron. We thank you. It's because you are a YouTube subscriber. We thank you for that. Do the Amazon Prime guys get it real time? They don't. They do? Yeah, if you link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account, you're getting this real time and it costs you nothing. So that's actually the cheapest, smartest thing to do. And I think Twitch probably will let you use your parents' account if you're, even if you're like me, you're in your 60s living at home, living with your parents. I'm definitely living on some of my parents' money. They left me a little tiny bit of money. In any case, just do the best you can to get us paid, because Shane is struggling along through COVID. Nothing better to do than that. And have you noticed the quality of product on SIFTD has gotten really good lately? So make sure that you do everything you can to get us paid. Amazon Prime link to Twitch Prime is the fastest, easiest way. If you don't have an Amazon Prime account and you just can't deal with helping us out on the other two, then you're watching a week late, because I don't get paid, so I insist that everybody get access to the Pachter 11 for free. So follow me on Twitter at Michael Pachter. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.